Laura, nice to have you here.
Hi, Flavia. Thanks for having me.
Great. So let's start. Everyone in Brussels has a story. I'd be interested to hear what's your story and what brought you to this city.
Well, thank you for your question, Flavia. So, I've been in Brussels for more than 7 years now, and I came here in 2018 for an internship, but I cannot say that it was like by chance, because I think it was kind of a logical consequences of my studies, because I study European International Studies. So then, for me, Brussels was like the place to be. And then I came here and I worked for more than 6 years in the consultancy field. And then I transitioned to the NGO sector, and I've been working for 1 year now at Positive Money Europe as a senior policy manager. And at Positive Money, we work to redesign the economic system and make it better for the people and for the planet. So we propose ways to green our economic system.
Great, thank you. So you belong to one sub-bubble, let's say, of many bubbles in Brussels.
Yes.
I'm interested to understand it a little bit better. So if you had to explain your day-to-day job to somebody outside of Brussels, which you might actually do from time to time, what would surprise them the most?
Well, what I would like to talk about is that, is the fact that there is this myth about like people working in the NGO sector who are outside the building shouting, but at Positive Money, at least, we try to engage in a different way with policymakers and decision makers in Brussels. And what we do is like to go inside and talk to them and with them. And so, the NGO sector is not just about grassroots organizations, but for us is more engaging with policymakers, with members of the European Parliament, and talk to them and explain our views and our ideas for this economic system we live in. And then, I think I would like also to mention the fact that, many people working, in different member states or in different bubbles, as you said, think that here in Brussels we are kind of disconnected from the real world, and we do a very grey and technocratic kind of job, but this is actually not true, because I really think that we work on topics that influence the people, so every day's life. As for instance, the economic system, as I said, or an electronic version of cash that we might have in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's go into your personal story as well. I'm interested to hear what's a decision that you made early in your career that might have felt a bit risky at the time, but turned out to be the right choice.
Well, I think that's a very interesting question. As I said, I've been working in different consultancies for almost 7 years. Well, for sure, more than 6. And last year, then I moved to the NGO sector and to Positive Money Europe. And when I changed job, it felt very risky, because then I joined a new field with different dynamics. And differently from before, now I'm the one meeting everyday policymakers and putting my face on what I say, and so to really put forward our ideas and beliefs. So I kind of represented always our organization. That was not the case before, because then in consultancy you are working for different clients, so it's kind of their meeting and then you are preparing them for the meeting. And then, I joined also this sector, and I was not an expert in economics, and I don't have a background in economics, so it felt kind of risky, but now I'm happy. So
great, thank you. What would you say have been a mistake or a misstep that you might have done early in your career or later in your career that has taught you something that you still carry with you today?
Well, As a junior person, I think that I would like to have been more vocal. So to be more active, yeah, and more vocal when it comes to spotting like some differences or some things that could have been done in a different way, or to propose new ideas. But then I also believe that, I mean, as a very young professional, sometimes it's very hard, like to have this courage and to be so proactive.
Okay, moving on to your opinions and as well your challenges within the sector. What's a hill that you're willing to die for in your sector, even if everybody else disagrees?
Thank you. So that's an interesting question, because I don't believe that it's right to have very strong opinions, and that we are allowed to change our minds, because then nothing is all white or all black, despite what I'm wearing. So I really believe that change is the new rule. And then also because we live in a very fragile world and in a very fragile and uncertain political environment. Having said that, nowadays, to be strategic, we also need to be ready to change what we think and our views. And then, nevertheless, at the end, in a negotiation, then we have also to be ready to compromise, because then compromise is like the best way to achieve what we want in this way and in this world we live in, especially in Brussels.
Nice. So the hill is be open to change your mind.
Yes.
I like that. And what's the biggest challenge that you see on the horizon for your sector and for what the topics that you're following?
There are a lot of there are a lot of challenges for the sector nowadays. First of all, as I've already said many times today, the political landscape is very uncertain. So we have seen, I mean, climate change, economics, and then also different wars in the world. But then in the NGO sector specifically, then there is a real battle against finding and funds for NGOs. And then when it comes to us, to Positive Money in Europe, well, we have now a more conservative political arena, and so we are going through the building of a new narrative that is less focused on climate and green, and more on competitiveness. So we are kind of rephrasing our way of talking to different policymakers and to different stakeholders. And that's a real challenge, I think, well, for us for sure, but it's a challenge that it's like share with a lot of other organizations in the sector.
And is there somebody that works in your field that you respect deeply, even if you might disagree with them?
Well, yes. At this point, I think I would like to mention Christine Lagarde, because at Positive Money, for instance, we sometimes disagree with the European Central Bank, or better, we think that the European Central Bank can do more for the planet and for climate. And we are, advocating for this every day in our daily job. In fact, Christine Lagarde was finance minister in France, and she was also at the top of the IMF. So she covers these very high-profile roles, being a woman in this male-dominated sector. And this is very important also for us at Positive Money.
Amazing. Thank you. And one last question for you.
Yeah.
My personal favorite, as my audience knows. If your Brussels journey had a soundtrack, which song would be on it and why?
Thank you for this question. So I thought about this a lot, and I would like to give you 2 songs.
Okay, you're allowed.
Yes. So the first one will be Centro di Gravità by Franco Battiato. I mean, as you know, I'm Italian, so these 2 songs are, well, Italian songs. And I think it helped me in well, hard times also, because in the song I really see the need like to find a balance, a gravity center between I mean, what you believe and the people you meet with, your work life, your personal life, and also as being an expat, then try to find a balance between, I mean, your new home here in Brussels and also your home country. And then the second song and the last song I would like to mention is Acqua e Sale by Mina e Adriano Celentano, because this was one of the first songs I sang at karaoke with my friends.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Flavia.